We're live, brother. Hey, what's up, guys? This is Lester Wiltfong with T Formation Conversation. I am jumping right into it today because I got a special guest. It's my guy, Shawn. You guys know him from SportsZone Chicago, host of Shawn and Maya in the morning. What's up, Shawn? How you doing today?
Man, I am wonderful, Lester. I am wonderful. I'm feeling great. Thanks.
So you were at camp today. You know, this is the first time you made it out so far this year.
Yes.
It was kind of cool. I mean, yesterday you didn't have a ticket, right? Or a couple days ago. And then you just sent it out on Twitter. And then through the magic of Bears Twitter, someone found you a ticket.
That's awesome. Happened quick, fast, in a hurry.
Yeah.
Within less than an hour.
Oh, nice. So that's a lesson. Anybody out there looking for camp tickets? I know that they sold out, or I say sell out. You know, they were gone quickly. So if anyone needs tickets, put something on Twitter. Hit us up. We will help retweet you and elevate that to get it out there to get someone to find you a ticket. Because there's people that aren't going to make it to camp, and we want a packed house there today, right?
Yeah, and I appreciate you retweeting and a couple other everyone else who retweeted it. I really appreciate it. And like I said, within less than an hour, you know, I had a guy, you know, hey, I got it, and sure enough, sent it over, and I had it, so it was good. I appreciate it.
Awesome. So I was at camp over the weekend, but I know there's no pads on. It was cool. It was fun, but you know, so you were there today. You had a chance to watch them with the pads on, helmets, shoulder pads, the whole deal. So something that I can't tell when I'm there when there's no pads is the defensive line. You know, there's no hitting, there's nothing happening. You know, the run game is there, but you don't know if it's real or not. So I need to ask you right off the top, because that's my thing. I always start in the trenches. What were your initial thoughts on the O-line, D-line battles today?
So the O-line, D-line battles were good today. In the red zone, now mind you, we were sitting kind of far. What they did, I was not very happy with. They have two fields. We were on the side of the, you know, field one is pretty close to the building, to Halas Hall. Field two is next to it, and then we were, you know, after field two. So they were holding everything kind of on field one where we couldn't see. So we kind of had to stand up. But I got to see a goal line situation. And here's my assessment of it. Running the ball, we did really well. Running the ball, we did really, really, really well. Tresha Ebner scored. Montgomery scored. Khalil Herbert scored. Even Darionton Evans scored. Right, an inside drill on the goal line. When they got the team 11-on-11 at the end, the defense, the offense kind of stalled. Defense was dominant on that particular play. So the offensive line, which I'm okay with right now. I mean, you got to understand you're a former offensive lineman, so you know it. You have to work in rhythm. And when you're just playing with guys now for the first time, and you got Riley Reef, and you have Schofield, and you have Borum, you have all these different guys that are just been put together. And now, you know, Lucas Patrick is out, so now you had the rookie in there. So you had different guys who aren't used to playing together. And when you're dealing with pass pro, there's a work in progress. Yeah. But the fact that they're running the ball very well, I love it, because we're going to be running the ball most of the time anyway this year, you know, to begin with. So running the ball, I am not worried about it. And it just was more and more consistency. And with the pass pro, they'll be fine.
So today, from what I understand, it was Braxton Jones getting most of the number one reps at left tackle. Yeah, with Reef over on the right side, which, you know, he's a veteran. He's played both sides in his career, but I find it interesting that they are getting Jones another extended look at the starting left tackle. Were you able to kind of pick up? I know it was 2 fields away from you.
Yeah,
but were you able to pick up anything of Braxton Jones, the rookie at the left tackle for the Bears?
No, I wasn't because one, my eyesight's bad, so I couldn't see all the way that far. And funny story, I was actually, before I left, I was actually looking for my binoculars. I was looking for them and I couldn't find them. So, you know, I'll find them tomorrow when I'm cleaning up the room. You know, and I got to get all the laundry to go throw the laundry in the washer. Oh, here are the binoculars. But like I said, during the pass pro, it was a little. They weren't as strong as they need to be. Okay, but as I said, the inside drill and the goal line, offense got them. So I'll take that right now. Justin Fields, you know, is going to the pass pro is going to get better, right? And it's just a matter of time. You know, it's their first day in pads. Defense always has an advantage on the first day, especially when you have a new system, a lot of new offensive linemen. defensive guys have been rushing the passer the whole time. You do one thing, you know what I mean? Defensive ends are coming off the corner. You don't have to worry about a 3-4, 4-3. You go get the quarterback. So I'm not worried about it. Some people I've seen already on social media, and people are on the edge, on the ledge. Like, it's day one of pads. Relax. Okay, let them grow. Let them get some chemistry. Let them get some camaraderie, and then come talk to me in a week or two. Talk to me next Friday. All right, and we'll see.
I think we all understand the O-line's a work in progress. They're missing Patrick, like you said. He's down with a thumb injury. With Sam Must for center today. Cody Whitehair still in there doing his thing at left guard. It was Jatir Carter getting some reps. It was Michael Schofield getting some reps at right guard. So we always talk about how the O-line struggled, which yes, it did. But on the flip side of that, the guys on defense, those are Chicago Bears too. So those guys were getting some pressure. And then, the edge rushers were there. I saw some stuff from the beat guys talking about Dominique Robinson flashed a little bit. Travis Gibson flashed a little bit. Did anyone on the D-line kind of stand out to you today?
Yeah, Gibson. I was really happy with what I saw with Gibson. He's ready to roll. He's ready to take that next step. And hopefully he does. With Robert Quinn on one side, Travis Gibson could have a lot of one-on-one matchups, since the majority of the attention has to go to Robert Quinn. He's really got to take advantage of the one-on-one matchups that he's going to receive throughout the year. And all of a sudden, if he does, I think it seems like he's ready. He looked the part last year, like he was ready.
Yeah.
And I think this year he's what it is. He's got a lot more attitude, a lot more swag. He's got more confidence in himself. And that's what happens when you get young guys. You build, you have successes, you have failures, you have successes, you have failures. But the more successes you have at this level, the more you start to believe, holy cow, I can play here. I belong here. And I think I can honestly say he feels that he belongs here now.
Yeah, the O-line, let's go back to that real quick. There was some talk about some false starts today, and we got a question from the peanut gallery here, from Adam. Talk about how Trevor Siemian, the backup quarterback, said that part of the reason why they had so many false starts is because of the different cadences. And I think we kind of saw that, as Bears fans, we see some Packer games, and we kind of see how Aaron Rodgers goes through his cadence. A lot of it's varied. And so that's part of it. Maybe that's part of what Luke Getsy's installing in this offense. There's different check with me's. There's different alert words they're working on here. So, it's like you said, first day on pads, it's day 6 of camp. So do you buy that as the excuse that there's some false starts?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You got Justin Fields in there. Then you have Trevor Siemian in there. You have Peter. So you got different quarterbacks, different inflections. Again, you got a line that's not used to being next to each other. You look over here, this guy's not the guy who was here last week. That guy's not the guy who was here the week before as well. So you're getting new Kate, you know what I mean? So they're all trying to make an impression on the first day of pads. So yeah, some of them got a little jumpy. Some of them, sometimes you forget who the quarterback is. I know it sounds stupid. People are like, are you kidding? Trust me, we've all been those of us who've been in a huddle. We know, you'll forget somebody if a wide receiver's in, a different wide receiver. So when a different quarterback comes in, and you're used to a certain cadence, a certain rhythm from the quarterback, all right, and there's another guy who's in there who does it a little different, or maybe he just pauses for a half a second, a little longer. It's very, very easy. Once these guys get used to the quarterbacks and their cadence, it's a whole again, that combo with the fact that it was the first day of pads, and they're fired up, they're excited, they're looking forward to this day, because honestly, camp is now started. Okay, all the other stuff, all the other BS and shorts, and in the little kazoo helmets, that they're wearing. That's cute, that's nice, and it's fun. But now it's time. Ding, ding. Camp is started, because now we're moving people. Now you can get to see what people are made of, because everyone looks good in shorts. But now when you get to hit people, now when you get to move people, now when you get to intimidate, when you can separate the receiver from the ball, it's a whole different atmosphere. So. There's a lot of anxiety, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but guys were just anxious today because they wanted to show out in front of the new coaching staff.
It does seem like the last few days of camp that they're ready to hit. It seemed like the ramp up situation happened, and it seemed like they were itching to get after it. Yeah, it's their teammates. They're not going to hit them, full on, but it's still football, man. You don't want to hit somebody. You want to show what you can do. You said, you want to separate the ball from the receiver when you can. You want to make the right blocks when you can. And that's what the Bears did today.
Yeah, it was good. And they were flying around, and you see Coach Eberflus's influence. I know Coach Williams is a DC defensive coordinator, but you see the influence that Coach E has, and they're flying around. The D was just flying around, and I was really, really excited about it, and that was good to know. Okay, that was good to know, good to see, and again, in the beginning, especially when you're learning a new system, you got new players, the defense, is going to have the advantage. There's no timing. It's different running a route in shorts and a helmet than it is in full pads. It's a big difference. For sure. Okay, for sure. So there were a lot. And everybody's talking about. I'm not saying Justin Fields shouldn't have hit some. No. All right, he should have. He missed some. He was a little late on a lot of his throws. He overthrew N'Keal Harry in the end zone for a wide open touchdown. Okay, so but it's different from just helmets to full pads. Completely different.
You mentioned the receivers. That's where I want to go to next. We are going to touch on Justin Fields. He had an up and down day, but this receiving core. I mean, it's Darnell Mooney, who is legit going to be something this season. We're not sure exactly how much is something, but we know he's going to be their top guy. And then it's a bunch of guys that we're not sure of. So, you mentioned Harry. I saw some stuff about Pringle today. One of the guys one of the national guys said that Pettis looks quick today. So you were there. Which wide receivers stood out to you today at practice?
I like N'Keal Harry. Okay.
He's a big dude, right? He's a big dude.
Yeah, he is. And remember, I think you came on my show, Lester, and I was mad after the draft. I'm like, I wanted a big receiver to just throw the ball to, a jump on, go get it. Well, you know what? They got it. He's that dude. The play that I talked about earlier, where Justin Fields overthrew him, they came right back to it, and they hit him. Okay, so
they got him on that. Okay.
Yeah, they came back on it.
See, like on Twitter, that part's left out. Of course, the fans this is social media, so you see the one tweet where he missed him, but there's no follow up saying, "Hey, the next play you went back and got him anyway." Okay, I feel much better. That's why you were there. I want to know what's happening,
dude. Trust me, this is why I like this coach. I'm really, really admiring this coaching staff. All right, because that's what I wanted. You remember I was telling you, like, give me that one big stud receiver, okay? One big stud receiver because what they've done with the defense, they built it, and it's built on turnovers and takeaways. So who are you going to get? What are you going to do? Who are you going to throw the ball to when you get the ball on a +30? All right, and that's what I wanted. Well, guess what? Now they got a guy. Now they got a guy who did that in college. He didn't get a chance to do it in New England, but he did a very good job of it in college. And I liked him. Halas Jones looked good today as well.
How was Equanimous St. Brown? Because when I was there over the weekend, he was standing out to me. He's, again, we're talking about a big receiver. He's 6'5". He's another big guy. So was he there doing his thing today?
Yeah, he was. And you know what? It's the thing that I'm really starting to like about it is even though they're not big names, these are guys, and this is why I'm really enjoying this staff to this point, to a degree, is they're picking people that fit the system, the system that they need to run. Well, how much more can you fit the system if you're EQ St. Brown when you just came from the same system last year? So there's really no learning curve for him, like there is for Darnell Mooney, for Halas Jones, for N'Keal Harry. There is no learning curve for him. So this is a guy that if people need to watch out for a guy, this might be the guy that you need to watch out for, because he's very comfortable in the system. So he knows exactly where to go, how to read it. If it's a choice route, this guy should do pretty good. And he's a big receiver. He's a very big receiver. And if you look at up that team up north, Getsy liked, big wide receivers. With Devontae Adams, Valdez-Scantling, even Al Lazard. They're all 6'3", 6'4", taller. Yeah. Now we have guys like that too. So I'm really looking forward to this receiving core. I'm not putting anyone in the Pro Bowl or All Pro or anything, but I'll tell you what, they're going to be productive.
Well, it's a work in progress. And another thing that's nice about this group, they fit the scheme, but it seemed like they all have a chip on their shoulder. Like
Yeah.
with St. Brown, he was never able to catch on in Green Bay. With Harry, he never was able to catch on in New England. Pringle, he was the third or fourth option in KC. Then of course they got Sharp, they got Pettis, some of the guys that kind of washed out in a bunch of other teams. Now they're out here competing for a job. You have the rookie Velus Jones, another guy. When he was drafted, no one expected him to be the guy there. So of course he has a chip on his shoulder. So I think the competition is going to bring out the best in all of these guys. And like you, I'm not expecting Pro Bowls out of these guys, but it should be a nice competitive group that helps Justin Fields more than a lot of fans thought when the offseason started and we saw this is the group they had.
If you can guarantee me 5 to 7 touchdowns from each guy, which is not a lot at all. Okay, for wide receivers, 5 touchdowns. Think of how many that is. That's a lot for Justin Fields. For him to be able to spread the ball around that well, I think if everyone can give me between 4 and 7 touchdowns. I'm talking N'Keal Harry, Darnell Mooney, Velus Jones, EQ St. Brown, Pringle. That's 5 right there. 4 to 7. Now we look almost 40 touchdowns, close to 40 touchdowns. And I didn't even mention Cole Kmet.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're talking 40 touchdown passes, and no one's got to even come close to double digits. So if they can do that, which is literally what the plan is, to be able to so you can't game plan for anybody. You're probably going to end up game planning for Darnell Mooney because he's their first. He's our quote unquote number 1 receiver.
Yeah.
But you're going to find out that there's a whole bunch of other guys who can be dangerous in various situations. So that's what I love about it. Nobody's really a number 1. There's a whole bunch of number 2s. So.
Yeah, it makes sense. Let's go to Justin Fields. You talked about him. I think 40 touchdowns would be outstanding. I think he may go a little short of that. But you know what? What's the Bears' record? 29 touchdowns. I think that's, if he's healthy, I think it's attainable for Justin Fields. So we talked about him. An up and down day. A lot of the beat guys were kind of talking a little bit about it. They like he had this whole camp so far. I was there on, I think it was Friday or Saturday. I think it was Friday. He had a really, really sharp day. The other days of all camp, up and down, and Justin Fields again today was kind of up and down with some of his throws.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that he's learning a new system. All right, it's completely different. All right, you have to understand. I'm not being just a homer. I'm coming at it from a coach's perspective. It's the first day of pads. All right, you got an offensive line who's not in sync yet. All right, he did well. All right, there were a couple times he dropped back. All right, there was some pressure. He ducked. Got positive yards. This kid's going to be fine. This kid's a winner. He's been a winner his entire career. You understand? So we all saw the athleticism and the moxie that he had last year in the San Fran game, in the Pittsburgh game. There were a couple of different throws that he had. You're like, how the hell did he make that throw? Rolling to his left and throwing back across his body, inches away from the defender, the fingertips of the defender. So I'm looking forward to, again, this whole thing. It's day 1 of pads. I don't want anyone to get too crazy. If he has a great day, oh my God, we're going to the Super Bowl. And if he has a bad day, oh my God, he sucks. Trade him. There's got to be a balance here, and let this play out. Let him grow in this offense. Let him get more comfortable in this offense. He's going to have good days. Let's not forget, those guys get paid on defense too. They're trying to make a name for themselves too. They're trying to make this team too. Okay, so it's defense is always a lot easier in the beginning because it's sick 'em, and they're going back to a 4-3. Okay, so if you're in a cover 2 and you play cover 2 your whole life since you were in grammar school or pee-wee, cover 3, all the main defenses you play, you're very familiar with on defense. You know where to go. On offense, when you get a different scheme, it's a whole nother story. It takes a while. So Justin Fields looked okay. He was a little late on some of his throws. He's got to do a much better job of that. But again, I just see him progress. And if it happens, if next Friday we're getting beat reported, because I was talking with Herb Howard today from the Bigs, and we were both saying the same thing. Like, it's early. If we're saying the same thing next Friday, okay, then we might have to have something to worry about. But it's day 1. And I know we want him to be perfect. We want no balls on the ground and 7-on-7. It's just not realistic. People got to remember. I know Justin Fields. The main thing is his development. But guess what? The DBs and the linebackers, they have to develop too.
You talk about he was late on a few throws, and that's one thing I saw as well when I was there. And I think part of it is the instability up front. I mean, if the pressure gets on them too quick, of course you're gonna be late because you can't make your throw, you can't make your read when you want to make it. So I think the play action game, from what I understand, looks a little cleaner than the drop back game.
Yeah.
But again,
Oh, yeah.
but that's a natural part of training camp because like NFL, college, high school, play action's easier. It just is what it is. You know what I mean? The drop back game takes a little longer. So is that kind of what you saw as well? The drop back game where some of the struggles were?
Yeah. And you know what? I'm okay with that because that's their weak point. And if that's the case, because remember, they're going to run the hell out of that ball. You don't sign a fullback unless you're going to run. There's only 53 roster spots. Okay. You don't sign a fullback unless you're going to run the God blessed ball. So they're going to run the ball. And Blassie game looked good too. He looked good today too. He caught a touchdown coming out of the backfield.
Okay.
I was like, are we looking at Rathman again? But I digress. I think they understand that they're going to run the ball and the play action game is going to be there. So now although you can always tighten that up, I think they want to really work on just the straight drop backs because that's where they're having the issues. So I feel that they're trying to get the most reps doing that because that's their biggest weakness right now. Is a straight drop back. And the way you work on the way you make a weakness a strength is you got to work on it. You got to focus on it. And because if you keep bootlegging and play action, well, that's going to work. That's going to work. But then you're neglecting something else, another area that you need that's weak. So you got to build that up. And I think, in my opinion, it looks like that's what they're doing.
That makes a lot of sense. Hey, we're going to take a really quick commercial break for the sponsors. Then we'll jump right back into it after the break. This break's just for the podcast. Just give myself a second. All right. All right, we are back. I am talking to my guy, Shawn Sierra. You can find him on Twitter at the Shawn Sierra. Of course, he is host of Shawn and Maya in the Morning on SportsZone Chicago. Man, this is weird, Shawn. Usually I do your show. This is the first time I've had you on my show.
I know. What took you so long, man?
I usually don't do guests. I'm usually just solo. But with camp going on the next few weeks, we have a few guys there from WCG, but I want to reach out to a couple guys I know are going to be at camp and get their firsthand perspective because that's what the fans want. The fans want to know what's happening at Halas Hall. Yeah,
understandable. So anytime you want, bro, whenever I go, I'll be more than happy to come on and give you my take. So I'm really looking forward to the season. I'm looking forward to going to camp a couple more times. I'll be at Family Fest next Tuesday.
Okay.
I thought it was in the afternoon. It's like 10 o'clock. I'm like, damn, dude,
early.
I got to get down to and I live in Orland. So I'm like, goodness gracious. I got to see if I can stay over one of my friend's place in the city. That's crazy. So I'll be there again. And I'll probably go one more time down or up to Lake Forest and check it out. Cause I'm really looking forward to the season. I think it's going to be a lot more entertaining. A lot of and very surprising. It's going to be a lot more victories than many people prognosticate.
Yeah, I'm going to be at camp this Sunday, the 7th, and again on the 20th. I think we have Jacob Infante, one of our guys, will be there. I think one day coming up too. We got JB's and has a couple correspondents already lined up to do stuff. So we'll have a lot of coverage here. So we'll make sure when you're there, we'll holler at you too. We'll get that going. But the Bears had a nice draft class. A lot of the guys have been standing out. So I want to talk about the rookies real quick. And let's start with those two DBs on defense. Again, you were 2 fields away. The Bears, for some reason, put the fans far away this time. But were you able to pick up anything from Brisker or Gordon when you were watching camp today?
I didn't get as much as I wanted to. And I was really looking again. I didn't, I'm trying to see over there. So I couldn't give you a good assessment of those guys. Because I was watching, I was trying to find them, and then, like I said, the players were on the sidelines.
It's hard, right? Because there's so much stuff going on. It's like the guys are coming in and out so quick. So it's like it's Brisker at safety 1 rep, then next rep it's a new guy, and you're thinking, was that Brisker again? And it wasn't. But it's a lot going on camp, which is why it's so cool to go down there.
Yeah. So I didn't get to see I didn't notice what they were doing today, or if it was them or not. And I was a little disappointed. I was very disappointed. All right, I was very disappointed because of my feelings toward the first 2 draft picks. Like I wanted a wide receiver. I was mad when they didn't get one.
Yes, you were.
Brisker, the second one, and I was really upset. Then they got N'Keal Harry. I'm like, okay, now I'm okay with these draft picks. Now let me appreciate them and let me watch them. So I didn't, unfortunately, like I said, I didn't get a good look at, because of the way they had it. I was really, really upset with that. And you know what was really funny when they did that is a lot of people in the stands left. They just went, and I don't know if they went into the Walter Payton Center or back over there, but it was very noticeable when the fans, when they started doing a team on the other that field, the far field, fans left.
So yeah, that's just so weird that there's no bleachers on that part of the on that field. Yeah. It's just it's unfortunate. So I said I'm going back on Sunday. Hopefully it's not like that again, because that would
hopefully you're behind the Walter Payton Center. Those fields are better. Right?
That's the best field there. So I do want to ask you a little bit more specific about Kyler Gordon. I know you didn't get a chance to see him too much today, but the reports are he's getting a lot of reps at the starting corner, opposite Jalen Johnson, but he's also getting a ton of work in nickel. This guy, as a rookie, is showing the ability to kind of bounce, inside, outside. Talk about a little bit what that means for a young player at this level.
It means stability. It means you're asking to be in the league for a while, or on this team for a while.
Yep.
If you're able to cover both, because you have to. Tavon, who's the guy?
Tavon Young,
Tavon Young. Okay, he was signed to be the nickel, so if he can do it, fine. But NFL stands for not for long, because people get injured, there's things that happen, and so you may be able. What happens if? Okay, your number one receiver is getting locked down, and they put him in a slot so he has a mismatch. And when you're a DB and you got to cover a receiver in a slot, there's a whole different ball game as if you're covering them outside. Okay, a whole different ball game. So his ability to do both, okay, which is it looks like to me is like they may be able to. Him and Jalen Johnson, they may be traveling corners. They may be traveling corners. When you go man, like I got pick a man and stay with him. Like Deion Sanders, you said back in the day, let's just pick a man and have him and take him all game. But it's going to do wonders for him, with the ability to cover, to get work and get reps at the slot, because now you can't hide a guy. That's what they did with Devontae Adams in Green Bay. They moved him to the slot a lot, right? So you get him on a safety, you get him on a linebacker, you get him on a nickelback. A lot of times nickelbacks, they're not very tall. All right, they're 5'9", 5'10". Devontae Adams 6'3", 6'4". Okay, kind of a mismatch. So his ability, because Kyler was 6'1"-ish.
Yeah, about that.
So now you got a decent sized guy on a slot, and that kind of nullifies his advantage being in the slot, because they can go either way. If you're on the outside and you have a cover two, well you kind of just funnel them inside and you're good. So it's going to do wonders for him, and it's going to build his confidence as well. So I'm really happy that they're doing that.
That's twice you mentioned a young player's confidence, and I think that's something that that's something that you don't hear talked about a lot. But like you said, it's so important for these guys. There are some guys that kind of take these challenges and really run with them, and there are other guys that kind of fold under the pressure a little bit. But I think it's good that these young guys so far for the Bears that have been in camp, they're stepping up to the challenge, and they are meeting the expectations of this coaching staff. And the coaching staff, like you said, man, they're on them. They don't care if you're a rookie, if you're a veteran, if you're not doing what they want you to do, they're going to yell at you and you're going to know about it.
You know what? It's a crazy word. It's called accountability, and everyone's being held accountable. And I think, as a player, okay, you don't ask for favors. You don't want favors from a coaching staff. You just want everyone to be treated fairly and equally. All right. Or put it this way, fairly. Okay. Because if you're dealing with a undrafted free agent and a first round pick, it's fairly, just not equally. That's Jimmy Johnson's favorite line. But you just want to be treated fairly, and especially the little things. Right? If you're not hustling, the 6th round guy is going to get chewed out just like the 1st round guy is going to get chewed out. Get your butt over there, hustle, stop, do it again. Right? And that's when you have that type of level playing field, okay, now you have the confidence to really go all out, because what happens sometimes is that when you see that a coaching staff is favoring the higher draft picks, okay, or the free agents, and you don't get a fair look, some guys tend to let that affect them. This way, guys know across the board, if you ain't hustling, you may be the reason the team hates you, because you have to do a drill again or once or twice. And I think that's great that these guys are competing, and that's the whole thing. They got guys who are not necessarily big names. I mean, I'm talking to free agents, but they're trying to get a big contract. You got rookies who are trying to make a name for themselves, because this is a new defense. This is a new regime. They're trying to make a name for themselves. So there's nothing but competition all over the board, all over the field. I'll tell you what, that is a thing of beauty when damn near everybody, except Justin Fields, damn near everybody else is competing for a job.
Yeah, I mean the coaching staff talked about it. They want to build competition at pretty much every position group. There's people fighting for a job. So,
Crazy, huh?
Someone
Crazy.
asked you about the defense real quick. I know it's like I said. I'm asking you who the best player you saw today was, but it doesn't have to be in the team. It could have been a guy that stood out to you in the 1-on-ones or like a 7-on-7. Of the guys on defense for the Bears, who was someone that caught your eye today?
Oh shoot! I left the it was number 44. They're doing a little one-on-one drills with the running backs.
Is that Matt Adams, the linebacker from the Colts?
Yes. He looked good today. He in one-on-ones. They did the one-on-ones in the field right in front of us, literally right in front of us. So I got a whole bunch of video clips from that, and he looked
You didn't
good.
share those video clips, did you?
Not yet.
Ah, okay.
That's for tomorrow.
Okay, they'll get you.
Yeah, he looked good in those one-on-one drills. And then I couldn't see in another group I wanted to see, which I couldn't, which really bothered me was the O-line. Like I wanted to see those guys. They're on the far field. The defense was over here. Then the D-line went to the O-line, to the other field with the O-line. So again, I was a little annoyed. So I was just able to see the people that were in front of me, and that was linebackers.
Yeah, with Matt Adams, I mean, he came from the Colts. He played with the Colts for 4 years, all 4 years with Coach Matt Eberflus.
Mm-hmm.
So he comes in with an edge. He knows the scheme. He knows the system. He understands the calls, and he's played, the Mike, the Will, and the Sam over there in Chicago. He's probably going to get the first crack at the Sam, and it just makes sense with those guys. And now with Roquan out, have you ever catch on who was playing the Will today? I know it's like I said, it was a few fields away. Were you able to pick up any of that?
I didn't, and I was really bothered by that.
The setup, it's like
it was really 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 frustrating, dude. I can't even tell you, because they're on the other side, but then you got the players who are standing on that sideline, and you can't really wasn't able to determine who was in, who was out, and it was really frustrating. I mean, we even moved up to the top, which. And you still couldn't tell. And it was really fun. I was telling my buddy Eddie, I was like, you know what? So we need to bring a drone next time. I said, I'm getting some damn footage.
I wonder what they would do if there's some drones flying above. I wonder what how do you police that? I know they're very.
I was teasing them like I said, as soon as we fly a drone, there's gonna be a laser coming off the top of the building. Taking out the drone.
Wow. Let's flip it over. All right, the best guy you saw, someone who stood out to you on offense. Like I said, whether it was one-on-ones, whether it was in the team stuff. Who was the guy that kind of caught your eye on offense?
Tristan Ebner.
Okay.
Tristan Ebner, running back out of Baylor. He's a guy that I really love because he ran the an outside zone scheme at Baylor. So this is nothing new to him. This is right in his wheelhouse. He has home run speed. He can play the slot. He did really good in goal line. He did really good. So in the first one-on-ones with the linebackers or defensive ends, he got torched. Guy gave him a deke inside, put his head down, dude swam him, got to the quarterback, touched the quarterback. I was like, come on, man. Next time up, dude, he kept his head up. He kept his balance, chest up, and dude tried to spin him. Perfect. Put his hand on his hip, rolled him right by. And after that, he was able to get it. So with that combination of one-on-ones, and he scored a couple times in the goal line situation. Yeah, I would say Tristan Ebner, and I'm happy about that. I love having three running backs, especially those three running backs.
Yeah,
in the stable.
I mean, it's very key for Ebner. I mean, when he was in college, he played some receiver. Like you mentioned, he can go in the slot for you. You can move him all around the offense. Kind of like the Bears did with Tariq Cohen, but with Ebner. He's a little bigger than Cohen, where Cohen was 5'8". With Ebner, he's got some size to his game. You feel comfortable giving him the ball. And then, but you mentioned the key for all rookie running backs: you got to pass block. If you can't pass block, you can't pick up the blitz. You don't know where that's coming from. That's going to keep him from the field. Yep.
Yeah, and that was the one. And when I was so happy, I was like, you know what? Thank you for bringing that on the field in front of me, because that's the one. Being a former running back myself. That's the one thing I want to see. If you're at that point on that level, of course you can run the ball. All right, we know that. All right, but I want to see how you pass pro, and it was good. Some guys, it was a great learn. It really took me back to my days in college and at Holy Cross, and going up against like All-American linebackers and DNs, and getting school the first couple of first couple of practices, and then having to either man up or or sit out. And it was good to watch. And Treston Ebner was able to pick it up, and he went back to the fundamentals and did really, really well.
Nice. All right, before I get you out of here, I'm going to ask you two more questions.
Sure.
It's about the off the field stuff. So I'm going to start with Roquan Smith first. He's having a hold in. He's on the pup list. We can still kind of be there and be engaged with his teammates. What are your thoughts on Roquan Smith? The Bears are going to pay this guy, right?
I don't know why he doesn't have an agent. Okay. And if you don't have an agent, fine, but then get a lawyer. I can't remember who the NFL player was who had a lawyer. He hired a lawyer, paid him X amount of dollars per hour. Okay. It obviously came out cheaper, but he wasn't an official agent. So this whole thing it's interesting because I don't know. I personally don't like it, because what if they tell you something and you get your feelings hurt, and now you're taking that personal, which is exactly the purpose of an agent, of a middleman, to take the bullets for you or the criticism they have of you. Not that there's a lot of criticism for Roquan Smith, but nonetheless, they got to pay him. They literally have to pay this guy, because if you don't pay this guy, guess what? This franchise it'll be what the Bulls were for a long, long time when no one wanted to come here. All right, and you got to pay this guy who's been one of the top 3 or 4 linebackers in the NFL the last 2 years. Pro Bowl snubs last year or 2 years ago. Okay, maybe this past year his snub. There's no reason for it. So they got to pay him, and they got to get it done sooner, man. Get it done sooner so you can get him out there and figure out if he's in the Mike, Sam, the Will, whichever one he wants. It's probably most likely to be the Will, but still get him out there. And there's nothing like reps. So yeah, they're going to pay him, but I think it's just they're avoiding a step, and that's where him not having representation.
It's a good point you bring up about the perception around the league. Everyone knows the Bears are in a reset or rebuild, whatever you want to call it. So you understand they're going to trade Mac. They're going to make some tough decisions from a financial standpoint. But you have a guy like Roquan Smith who was pretty young for a guy who's played 4 years in the league. I think he was drafted at 20. So we're talking about a relatively young football player. If the Bears as a franchise, if they make the decision, we're not going to pay this guy. I understand positional value for an off-ball linebacker. You don't pay those guys, but Roquan's a little different. Roquan, he stuffs the stat sheet. He's a leader. His teammates love him. I just think it sends a bad message if you don't sign a guy like Roquan. I mean, it's going to be big money, but you know what? They have a lot of money in the cap this year. I think they're like around 15, 16, 17 million this year. They have some room to play with, but then next year, it's ridiculous how much money they're going to have.
Almost 100 million, yeah.
I'm with you. You got to pay Roquan. It sends a message to the team, hey, we're going to reward our young players that are worthy of being rewarded, and then you go from there with him. So
I couldn't agree more. Give the dude his money. He's shown it, right? And just look at the amount of tackles. Like, I don't give a damn, what if you're leading the NFL in tackles, you're in the top 3. You're doing something right. It's more than just scheme.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not just scheming people open to make the tackles, because and for him to be up there for so many, a couple of years in a row now, you got a special player, and certain players maybe you go on the cheap. Players like him, you don't go on the cheap. You give him pretty close to what he asks, if not all of what he asks, and say, hey, listen, I just need you to keep doing what you're doing, because if he continues to do what he's doing, oh my goodness, like no one knew who Darius Leonard was, you know what I mean, until he was in the system, in the system with Coach Eberflus. Mm-hmm. This guy's already, people know who Roquan Smith is, and if he takes a step like Darius, if his jump is like the step that Darius Leonard took, we're talking first team All-Pro.
He's just such a perfect scheme fit for the Will. I mean, that's what the Bears talk about, playing him with the Will. Mm-hmm. He has the speed. He'll be chasing, making tackles. That's what he wants to do anyway. Plus he's outstanding in coverage. He has shown to be a very good blitzer in his career. He's the perfect fit for that spot. So pay the man and let's get it done. So I want to ask you about the other guy that's off-field drama. That's Tevin Jenkins. Still nothing out there. There's been some rumors about there's some attitude stuff, some immaturity stuff. Of course, the Bears are sticking by the gun, saying it's just, he woke up with something and he just hasn't been able to practice. But, do you think Tevin Jenkins at some point Is it to come in and get in camp, or you think it's just it's over? They're going to move him.
That's an interesting situation because that reminded me of my senior year in college when we got a new regime. And when you get a new regime and they're trying to implement their philosophy, their culture, it clashes with it can clash with people. All right. It clashed with a lot of us when I was a senior. So I'm not really quick to say, oh, he needs to grow up, blah, 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 blah. No. They could be approaching him the wrong way. Okay. But by the same token, you're a professional. Okay.
Yes.
And whether it's a new scheme or not, whether you got to perform. And I need him out there to squash all the rumors, squash anything that they could use against you, knock it out. I need you to get out on that field, and I need him to move people. I need them to stop to tell him, look, I don't need you taking this guy to the sideline to the echo of the whistle. And I want him to say no, because that's how I play. Because if you do that every play, if you move people every play, guess what? Then they have no issue with you. They have no issue with you. So him not being out there is bothersome. First day of pads, come on, man. This is what you want. You if he can just play football and do it to the best of his ability, hey, you know what? If he's pissed off, use it.
Yeah,
he's already got a mean streak in him. Okay, now he's got a chip on his shoulder because he may not like the new regime or maybe just the O-line coach. Then you know what? Then use it on the field. Make it to the point where they cannot take you off the field, and that's where he needs to grow up as far as maturity goes. Say, hey, listen, you may not like me. You don't have to like me, but you're going to love what I do on the field. So hopefully he's got someone in his corner to tell him that. Okay, someone that he trusts and confides in, and because if he does, and we saw what he did at Oklahoma State. We saw some flashes of his nastiness last year. All right, now we need it here. If he could do that, everything. Trust me, everything will be forgotten.
It does seem like it's at the point now where it's a tipping point. He's either going to it's either too far or they can't bring him back. Again, who knows what's going on behind the scenes, but we all have jobs where you don't get along with somebody you work with. So if there is a personal issue with him and the O-line coach, Chris Morgan, if that really is part of this, come on, man. You just got to deal with it. You got to get back to work, and you got to put the work in, because I'm like you. I seen the potential on the field. I think if he's out there and he was playing, he'll be able to show that, work through it. But not everyone's potential plays out once they get into the NFL. It's sometimes some guys just can't take it with them. So,
but you also got the coaching staff has to take a few arrows for this as well, because I know you're trying to instill a culture, but you have to understand that everybody doesn't respond the same way to a certain style. Okay, and that's why I say players need to be treated fairly, but not equally. All right, because sometimes some players don't respond well to that. You have to say, okay, well, what way does he respond well to, and let me use that method, because you can't just throw away a second-round pick. Okay, why would you trade a guy? You've already said that he's your most talented offensive lineman, but then you want to put him on the trading block? You know what I mean? If he's your most talented offensive lineman, then you find a way to make it work, and at least for this year. And if it doesn't work this year, then you know what? Then you trade him next year and say, hey, we can walk away from him. We can try and trade him because we did everything. He was unresponsive. He didn't – whatever. It was mostly on him, and go for it. But you have to, especially nowadays with this younger generation, you can't just bark, and everyone follows. You gotta approach people differently. You can't just be the mean old nasty yelling coach, tough coach. Some kids don't respond to that very well. So it's the job of the coaches to get the best out of him, and it's a job on him to realize you're a professional. You're playing a game. You're getting millions of dollars playing this game. All right, you need to grow the hell up. Just because someone says something the way you don't like, all right, then you show them so that so now they talk to you, because if you become an all-pro, guess what? The conversation, the way they deal with you is a whole lot different than they do when they're trying to establish their own culture. It's a whole different story. So you want people to talk to you a little different in a way you like, go keep moving people, give our running backs tons of holes, give Justin Fields time to throw touchdowns, and trust me, the way they talk to you, complete 180.
I agree. I'm with you. I want to see him out there. I have my doubts to see what happens, though. But hey, Shawn, I want to thank you so much for jumping on the show. Again, everyone follow Shawn on Twitter at @TheShawnSierra. So what's going on over there at SportsZone? You got a bunch of shows this week coming up?
Yeah, so I'll be on tomorrow morning. Shawn and Maya in the morning, 9 a.m. to noon Central Time. You can find us on Facebook, on YouTube. We have our own app, so download the app wherever you get your mobile apps from. And we also have our own Roku channel. So
you're on Roku. I saw you on Roku the other day.
So if you have a Roku TV,
nice.
You can download the tile, put it right next to your HBO Max, HBO Plus, Disney Plus, Stars, Showtime, whatever TV. Put the tile right there. You can watch us live. You can watch us on demand. So you can catch SportsZone Chicago everywhere. Then tomorrow night we have a show called Sports 101, which is phenomenal. It's very historic. It gives you a lot of history of different sports. It's with Jamar Harp, and then on Friday at 12 we have our show called Second City Sports. They're on Mondays and Fridays. So we have quite a few shows on SportsZone Chicago, and you'll pick one. You'll like one or more.
Yeah, I got you on Roku. That happened a few months ago, right? I saw that. I'm like, whoa, I know these guys. That's awesome.
Yeah, dude. So please, if you're watching, you got Roku, download it to all your TVs. Even if you don't watch it, download it to all your Roku TVs in the house. It'll help us out with advertising purposes and stuff and things of that nature. So we'd appreciate it, and check us out on any one of those platforms.
Nice. Well, thanks again. Make sure you guys, like I said, follow Shawn at Shawn Sierra. Give me a follow at Wiltfong JR. This is T Information Conversation. Until next time, bear down, my friends.
Bear down, baby. Bear down.